Good morning, Turfs Up Radio. Wayne Vo's Profits Unlimited coming to you live from Louisville, Kentucky.
Yes, indeedy.
indeedy. Coming to you refreshed and alive this morning. Had a good night's sleep last night. Went out and did a little salting last night. Wasn't late though. Wasn't too bad. Talk a little bit about that. And man, I hope you guys are having a great Friday. It is Truth Bomb Friday, and I'm sure we're going to have a rocking and rolling Truth Bomb for you guys, to say the least. So, looking forward to that. But hey, I appreciate you guys hopping on here with me. We've got a great show planned today. I believe we're going to have Brett Waltz that's going to hop on with me here shortly. And they got a lot of weather going on, so he was going to try to hop on. So hopefully he makes it on with us for a few minutes this morning. Been a bit. So talk a little bit about weather going on and see what's happening around the country and around your neck of the woods. And got a couple questions already from a couple people to ask him about weather. So Brett, be prepared. No, I know. Hey, they just tell you what they think's going to happen based on the science behind their decision, and sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't. And the reality of it is that sometimes they're the best thing in the world, and sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, you know. So lot of controversy surrounded around weather sometimes, but yeah, it goes back to the science of it with the decisions that they make, and I'm sure some of their experience comes into play too. So that's what we'll talk to Brett about that. But other than that, I hope you guys are having a great week. Here we are rolling in on January 16th. Yeah, yesterday was 15th, January 16th, and over halfway through the month now. So moving along. Big shout out to Daniel on his show this morning. Had a great show as always on his Fun Fact Friday. So it's amazing how many things when Daniel talks about, and we get the I'm listening, and it had several good things. If you didn't have a chance to hear it this morning, you definitely need to check out the Replayers podcast on it. He'll have those up, I'm sure, right after my show. He gets both of our shows up immediately. But it was funny. He was talking about legal tender and the penny, phasing of the pennies out and whatnot. And I've had some pretty interesting situations at different places with pennies already. And at first people were rounding down, as was my experience that I found, and now they seem to be rounding up on what your price is. So I don't know. Did you talk about that, Daniel?
Not
The
about that.
roundup version
No.
of that. But yeah, I've run into quite a bit of that recently where, initially people were saying, okay, well, here we don't have pennies, so we'll just take it down to the next lowest thing that makes sense, But the last few times it's happened to me, they got signs up by their register that says, hey, we're going to round up. So not a bad way to, it doesn't sound like a big deal to get 4 cents or less. But if you get 4 cents or less on every transaction, you know, yeah, I don't know how it's not. I don't know. I don't know. You know,
You know what would be an awesome resolution from but not not a not a bookkeeping sense, but more so a uh public view sense would be, hey, we're gonna round up, but we're also gonna go donate this to Meals on Wheels or, Children's Hospital or
it's really good.
then people might feel better about, okay, I'm donating 4 cents today to
Yeah,
a better cause.
yeah. So, well, when a credit card processing fee doesn't apply to a cash transaction that's under 4 cents, you know. So,
I mean, you could say if you're donating it, then like I'm just saying,
you
like,
mean to
point of,
do
like,
that? Okay. Oh, I got you. Now I get what you're saying. Kyle's back there talking about
I mean, I guess we
donate the credit
could,
card processing fees.
but I'm just saying specifically for
Then you're kind of like double dipping it, though. I mean, when I say double dipping it, let me explain it. Your credit card processing fees are going to be deducted from your account, and then you're giving away an equal amount to that. So, let's just say it's $10 in processing fees. Now you're going to donate $10. That's a $20 swing accounting wise. So, I mean, that's just my quick thought on it. So,
I'm sticking with the pennies.
not a bad idea.
Sticking with the pennies. Keep it
Daniel,
simple.
Daniel,
Don't overcomplicate a good thing, you know? Don't overcomplicate the
yeah, let's don't make it hard on a Friday, especially since we're talking about this penny transaction. I think that's somebody's going to do that, Daniel, if they're not already.
Yeah, I think they should.
Yeah,
Be a cool
absolutely.
thing to get some good press for your business, and
it would be. Hey, in lieu, we got this penny thing going on, and in lieu of you guys feeling bad or us feeling bad or good or vice versa, we're just going to round everybody up, and whatever that round up is going to be donated. So, anyways, that was interesting. So did you hear that in your head?
yeah, was that a notification? I'm assuming
It was a notification on my garage door. So yeah, damn, it sounded like UFO. I was watching UFOs last night, a show on UFOs, and it was kind of neat. That would have been a fun fact. That'd be a fun fact thing to talk about someday, Daniel. But this guy, his dad was actually a Navy pilot, and I'm not going to get into the whole thing, but supposedly he actually saw it's not. I mean, this is all documented, on this TV show, but there was supposedly, I can't remember what area of the country it was, but people that follow that kind of stuff would know. But anyways, it was pretty cool. We're
to the point now with UFOs where the government and the military are no longer even denying it, and that's where people really start to question it.
Yep.
Because it's easy to believe that the government will lie to us about things, right?
Right.
It's harder to believe that they would be honest. So that's where people think it's like reverse psychology. Like, oh, they're being honest with us to make us think it's true, but is that a lie to make us stop questioning them about it?
Craig said agreed. True that. True that. Gosh, I didn't even think of it from that perspective. But yeah, that certainly is a perspective that could bring that home for sure, man. Gosh, Daniel, what brought that into your mindset? Just
which part?
Just the fact that they're saying yes, it does, or or not saying it doesn't any longer.
Well, I mean, there's a if you really look into it, not from like a conspiratorial perspective, but like just the facts, just like what has happened, and like from what the government is actually doing, what different branches of the military, specifically, I guess either the Navy or the Air Force or both, and like high ups in that have said about, those. It was a couple of years ago when all that happened, all that stuff with like where it was here and then it dropped down to below like the sea in like 0.5 seconds from 10,000 feet or whatever, and all that, whatever that situation was. And now there's apparently like less chatter about that kind of stuff because of the acceptance by those two bodies. I don't know. It's a weird.
It's an interesting
It's a weird
thing.
time.
That show was pretty interesting. Good morning, Corey. Corey's listening to us. Said he just got finished with his first physical therapy class. Getting iced.
Nice.
So, anyway, so why do they ice after that?
It's supposed to be a sort of like a little bit for pain management.
Okay.
But I will say, Corey, and I can't remember if it was your doctor or whoever who said it, or if it's something that I heard independent of that. But icing until like don't just continue to forever ice it, meaning like obviously not in like 7 years, but if you no longer feel the need to do it, only do it as needed and do it a limited amount, because ice actually, so what it does is it, I think, what stops inflammation. You put it on your head when you get knocked and so it doesn't swell up. part of the inflammatory process is the healing process, though, as well. So I'm not telling you to go against medical orders, but I'm also saying just be aware that, like, especially if it's like, let's just go back to normal, non-injured Corey who works out as well. If you went through a hard workout and you're icing your legs after that, generally speaking, probably not a good idea.
Very
So,
good.
Corey, keep doing what you're medically advised to do. I'm just, for people out there listening,
Yeah.
you know,
For the normal bear
yeah,
that's not going through surgery rehabilitation.
correct.
Yeah. And that does make sense because I guess that increased blood flow,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
is where the healing process
Mm-hmm.
comes in and begins to take place. Corey's sending us something, I think, on that. So we'll see what he's got to say on that. But yeah, glad. He said, Daniel, you're correct. They told me to go down to 15 minutes and space it out.
Yeah.
So there you go. Getting that knowledge here on Turfs Up Radio, supported by Dr. Seuss and gang
There
there
you go.
that's working on Corey.
Dr.
No,
Pepper and
Dr. Pepper. Yeah, what show was that? Oh, God, where they went to, oh, God, what was that show, Dr. Pepper? Oh, my God, I can see it as plain as day. Adam Sandler. And, but anyways, but hey, I appreciate you. Yeah, I know it'll come to Daniel's mind here in a minute, but where he inherits that business.
oh, Mr. Deeds. Yeah.
Mr. Deeds, Mr. Deeds. Corey said psych. Corey must be a psych fan too.
I think, yeah, I think I've heard him.
Oh my
mention
God.
that.
Yeah, they're tore up and wound up on psych, Corey, around here. Daniel and Katie. I mean, they can tell you about 98.6% of the episodes.
Kyle's good at it
Maybe,
too.
and yeah, Kyle's pretty good at that as well. No doubt about it. But oh my gosh. Tell you what, Corey, good luck with that. Good luck with that for sure. Craig, appreciate you listening. And hey, appreciate all you guys listening. And, you know, it's Corey said, yeah, he loves that show, Daniel.
It's pretty funny.
So, hey, yeah, we got a little bit of, we had a winter weather advisory last night, and which BAM told us that we weren't going to get nearly that much snow. Don't be too excited. And I was going to share that with Brett. But our dew point was too low. So, but anyway, we got a good opportunity today for some more snow, and I'm looking forward to Brett hopping here on here with me if he can. He said he was really going to try to, but I said, man, I get it with all the snow going along all over the country, and they got all their customers like Wayne's Lawn Service saying, "Hey, what's going on?"
Yeah, when you're getting 30 inches of snow in some places, it's
Oh my God, I know, it's crazy. I saw South Bend Lake Effect. I think they had like 20 inches, 19 inches or something the other day.
wow.
I mean, just crazy. Just crazy. We're going to get a little more snow this afternoon and this evening, but our temperatures today are going up. So
Yeah.
we won't talk about all that yet until we find out about the Corey. Yay. Katie texted in. She's at the vet with Beckett on a follow-up visit. And Katie, I guess she's all right with me sharing this, you know, her dog's health.
I don't know if dogs have HIPAA.
Do dogs have HIPAA? Yeah, this is off the rails Friday version, I guess, a little bit for profit time. But she said, good news, my granddogter, Daniel, is down 5 pounds.
There you go.
I know she's been making a concentrated effort to help her with that. So that is a good thing. Congratulations. Yes, indeedy. Congratulations, Katie. Good job. So, anyways, trying to do what's right for her dog. So, anyways, hey, let's take a short break. We'll be right back with more Profit Time here on Turfs Up Radio. Your industry, your station. Don't you go anywhere. Want to get on a little bit of a more serious note. We got to go out and we did a little ice melter applications last night. And for all of our customers, had a chance of a little bit of snow overnight toward this morning. Nothing too great, but matter of fact, some parts didn't get anything at all around us. But really, we were just wanting to get out and get it done because we got some additional snow that's going to be moving in here this afternoon. And it's always better when we get out to our properties when nobody's in them I mean, that's what we like to do. You guys doing snow know exactly what I'm talking about, so you can get your pre-treat down efficiently and effectively. And so, yeah, we went out and did that last night. And I share that with you to tell you all this. We got to get a new uh, Renegade, Snow X Renegade. It's their new model out to 2.2 yard is what spreader we specifically got. And then we got another one coming on a new truck that we should have any day now. But anyways, we got to use that thing and really like it. I like the Snow X brand. We've had good luck out of it. But one thing I'll say, sometimes, I'm going to call it progression, Daniel. That's not really the right. When you get better at something, whatever that is from an equipment standpoint, improve, you know, improvements. You know, one thing that they took away that was really nice that they used to have on their spreaders was a few years ago they added like a forklift slot to get it off and on your truck, and the new ones don't have that, and it's like, why did y'all get rid of that? And I actually called up there yesterday to ask him about something else about the spreader, and I mentioned to the guy that about the fork slots, and he said, I know, man. He said, we've had a lot of people ask us about that. So I don't know if that means they'll go back to it, but it sure did make it nice, man, to have those fork pockets, to just go right in there. And you guys can appreciate it, right? Getting a box off your truck, man. They had those fork slots there, man. You go right up in there and lift it off, and there it was. But good deal. So, and then one other thing I want to tell you guys about that Renegade, that in case you happen to have one or get one, is the spinner assembly on the back of those. You can make longer or shorter. You don't have to buy a separate spinner assembly if you want a long one or a short one. It actually has a piece that you can put in and out yourself as the end user. If you're sitting it on up on a bigger dump truck, we put it on a 350 flatbed, and with the extended chute altogether, it just set too low, But we thought we'd try it last night, and I mean it worked okay, but it was still too low for. It was uncomfortable on going like up in like if you're trying to back down or up into a loading dock or something like that. It just got, it just wasn't going to be a good situation. But that is something that you can change. So I just thought I'd bring that up for you guys, that if you happen to get one and your dealer don't tell you about it and you don't read the owner's manual, you wouldn't believe that would happen, would you, Daniel?
No, never.
No. Guys just don't read owner's manuals. They just don't. I mean, or most of us don't. Let me say that. So, but it's so far so good on one night out spread. I mean, the spreads material fine, and just that Helix auger system they got in there is just really awesome. Love them. That's why we use them. We use the poly boxes with the augers, and the electric is we use the electric boxes. Is what we use. I'm not telling you guys what to use. We just like the electric, man. Less moving parts, no belts, chains, hoses, motors, and pulleys. So it not only eliminates expense, it eliminates maintenance and pain in the ass problems at 2 a.m. So you guys know what I'm talking about when you if you're doing snow. So anyway, that was our experience with that. We'll keep you updated. It sounds like we're going to be able to go back out tonight and do a little something else. I was really hoping Brett was going to hop on here with me, but I guess he got hung up. He told me he might, but I wanted to get his opinion. But the cool thing is I'm going to get his opinion anyway. We're going because we use BAM weather for our weather source here, and we text them, and that's a cool thing about it, man. We can text them 24/7 any day of the year. and you get a response back almost immediately. When I say if you wait 2 minutes, it's a long time. You can say, "Hey, what do y'all think about this and this?" And because the reality of it is, it sometimes it does get problematic. Um, it gets problematic trying to decide what you're going to do and when you're going to do it and how you're going to do it. Uh, a, a guy that I know, Mark Busho, he posted something up on Facebook this morning. He said, "Weatherman said it was going to start snowing at 8 a.m., not 5 a.m. It's the first sign they lied to us again today." So, you know, that's the bad thing about weather, and I wanted to ask Brett about that. And if I think about it, I will ask him next time, but that he's on, him or Matt. But, you know, there's science. I guess it's all science, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it all boils down to the science of what's happening in the atmosphere. But trying to work with the science as a human is the challenge, I
I
guess.
think the challenge comes in because of the variables that you can't predict or track or whatever that affect the outcome.
Yeah.
You know that there's dew points and temperatures and wind and jet streams and slip streams and currents and but there's a million probably other things that we know exist theoretically, but we don't know what they are, how to track them, how it impacts something on a percentage basis, and all that kind of
Right.
stuff.
It was kind of like today when I was getting ready to come into work. I had our local news on and at home, and they were talking about this event tonight. You know, and they're saying, well, it's first of all, it's going to be a really wet snow, which that makes sense because temperatures are going to be up, and so it's going to be sticking to everything. But the temperature is going to be like 38 degrees, 40 degrees with snow initially, and so, but that tells me as a contractor, even if or it should tell me as a contractor with experience, um, that, hey, couple things. One, since we've already treated some things, we're going to get some protection from that. Number one, also air temperature, ambient temperature of the air is going to be good. Pavement temperature is going to be good because it's going to be snowing during the day with UV light, which in itself is helpful. But also, what it tells me is like a reapplication standpoint. That's the thing I want you guys to think about too. Is wet or dry snow is the moisture content in the snow. And what that boils down to is what's called the dilution of the solution. And that's something very important that you need to understand as a snow and ice management contractor. And that's something, Daniel, I want to talk about in the profit circle a little bit. Because a lot of times I think about what's basic to us isn't basic to a lot of people. When you've been doing something for a long time, regardless of what it is, then what seems easy and basic to us is completely different than what's easy and basic to somebody like David Bowling. I mean, and then he's a great guy and all, but the problem is experience, and so what becomes, I said that jokingly because he just walked in our office, but so I'm not picking on him so everybody knows. But the point is that you got to understand the variables that you work within. And it was like last night. We end up not having a flake of snow, or maybe we might have 2 or 3 flakes. But I'm not worried about it. My customers aren't worried about it. It all goes back to having the right customers. That's what it goes back to, you know. And we actually had a winter weather advisory that the National Weather Service had issued, you know, and so that's the science behind all that, and that's really maybe Brett will be able to hop on with us Monday. The science behind all that, and I will say this in BAM's defense too. I mean, they didn't have accumulations anywhere like everybody was, saying. Not that nobody said it was going to be a huge snow event, but there were people saying what because how much is 2 inches potentially, or an inch, you know, and most of what we were getting from BAM, and when we reached out to them, was like, man, it's probably going to be a quarter inch or less. But what we had yesterday, and the reason we decided to treat on a quarter inch or less was because of it had been cold the last couple of days. Pavement temperatures were down. It was going to be a night event. All those variables that get involved with making a decision.
I think the other part of that is knowing that there's this chance within the next 24 hours for more snow as well.
Yes.
That's a big part that went into this event specifically, that if you didn't have that risk tonight, you probably don't go out as early and do that kind of
Like we did
thing.
last night.
Yes.
Yes, because last night we decided, hey, let's just go out about 10 o'clock, make sure our lots will be clear. We got full access to our subdivisions, blah, blah, blah. And, if we don't have that little skiff of snow, then we know Friday we got accumulating snow coming. So everything's pre-treated, so that's right. It's another thing which comes into play. Let's see. Tim Brennan says, yeah, their weather was calling, and he's in New York. Their weather was calling for temperatures to drop around midnight. It was raining all day, and it was going to turn to ice and then snow after that. But earlier in the day, the cold front was going to come, and now the following day at 2 p.m. it did. So, same challenge in trying to be proactive as a contractor. That's, their forecast they got, not from BAM, but their local forecast or wherever they get their weather from, said, hey, this is going to take place. And I guess the real question, and it didn't, how does it miss is the question, I guess. And it is science, right? I mean, it's all okay. Well, something slowed down or something sped up or, this, that, or the next thing. But, and I guess that's the challenge of meteorology.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how that plays out. But Tim, you got a very, a valid point, and Mark did too. I think he's up in Detroit area, and I saw Matt was doing a live this morning up around Indianapolis. They were having a little bit of snow, so it's been a good winter for a lot of guys. I'll say that.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens tonight. Looking forward to an opportunity to go out and at least do some salting. Looking forward to reaching out to our friends at BAM, and they got us somewhere in the ballpark. God, let me look it up real quick. I'm gonna look at my Clarity app with them and see what they got us. Okay, most likely 0.7 inches. So there we go. So they got us about 0.7 inches. So right under that inch threshold, which is should be a good event. I mean, should be a good salting event for us. So we'll see how it plays out. So as long as we don't get too much rain beforehand, Daniel.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to have our material that's out there. It'll take rain, but So, but that's cool. They just went up a little bit. They're up to 0.7 now, so we'll see what happens. But hey, we got to watch that temperature. Could be where you're going to get more on grass and roofs and cars than you will pavement. So
Yeah.
we'll see how it all pans out. We'll see what pans out on that. So we'll let that weather discussion go for a while. But anyways, hey, let's take a short break. We'll be right back, and we're going to talk about the customer carousel just a little bit. Hey, David Bowling, come here, man. I want to ask you something about snow. He says, gosh, dang it. You don't have to if you don't want to. You don't have to get on if you don't want to. A lot of people would love to have that headset on right now. Well, I ain't even got your mic on yet. All right. There you go now. Go ahead.
My mom told me I got a face for TV. I don't have a voice for radio, so I'll give it a shot.
I don't know if you got a face for TV, but Mom would tell you that. I think you got a face for radio and a voice for TV.
It's probably the eyes, I'd say.
What? Because they're all red?
The face for TV.
What are your eyes doing red, man?
I went to bed at 1:30. We threw salt all night. Actually,
all night.
fun story.
He was out. He had a big. He got 9 jobs, y'all. So he was busy.
we
No,
I
he does work hard.
I woke up this morning and I fed my little boy, and we put him back in his crib to go to sleep, and I set a little timer for 30 minutes, and I woke up and it was 9:30, and daycare cutoff is 10 o'clock, so we were hustling to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you mean daycare's cut off at 10 o'clock?
You can't take them. This rule really irritates me, but you can't drop your kid off past 10 o'clock at daycare.
Okay. So
And if you don't make it by 10 o'clock, you can't drop them off, and you still pay for the day too.
huh.
Yeah.
All right. That's nice.
Yeah.
Got to pay for the day. Well, for you, David is a professional lawn and landscape contractor here in our market with us, and does a really great job. We work together quite a bit, and I give you kudos all the time on my show about how you help us and pull us out of the creek sometimes when we're stuck. You know,
I think
not literally,
I think you guys have pulled me out
you
of
know.
plenty more creeks, especially deeper creeks than I hope you
Well, I
guys.
appreciate you saying that, man. But it's a reciprocation, you know. It's reciprocal. So, David was going to do something for us the other day. He had a little equipment malfunction. Didn't call us crying about it. He called somebody else who could handle the situation because he knew we didn't have the vacuum to do it anyway, and so he took care of it. So it's a sign of professionalism when you got somebody that you can work with that figure something out and don't just cry and say, "What am I supposed to do?" Yeah, but you know what? That's because you're just getting better and more confidence in what you're doing.
Well, it's because
You know what you're supposed to do,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that's the difference. We were talking about that just a minute ago on the show about experience, you know, and experience is the absolute best teacher that we have. And speaking of experience, I got something here that Craig, one of our listeners, he's in a profit circle with us. He's in around Charlotte, North Carolina. You hadn't been to a meeting lately, man. You need to check in.
I know.
You know, I mean, you need to.
When's the next
You
one? You
need
gonna
to.
say tonight?
No. We just had one the other night. So the problem with David, he doesn't attend our profit circle meetings because he comes in here about 5 days a week and picks our brains on stuff there. So
I get to live next to the prophet.
we're gonna start. But anyway, proximity hack.
Good thing for me, bad thing for you. I
Yeah.
don't know. It might be a good thing for you. I've supplied plenty of questions.
Yeah. But this guy, Craig, sent me this from a guy. He said, this is not Craig, but something he saw. He said, another contractor said this. I just left a customer mid quote. Simple tree trimming job, but the guy was super difficult from the moment I walked up. Complained the entire time I was there and was very condescending. You ever have anybody do that to you?
All the time. Yeah.
Really?
I've had, yeah. It's generally the older dudes that always do it themselves, and they're too old to do it, or they used to have a
Handle
company.
it. What do you do with it? This isn't wrong or right. I'm not putting you on the spot. Just what do you do normally?
There's times it depends. A lot of times, I've got some guys that are like that, but they're just super particular, and they just expect this. And honestly, a lot of times what I found is there are people that are just trying to be difficult.
Now, how long have you been in business? If you don't mind sharing that with our listeners so they can get your perspective.
I mean, technically, I've done this since my dad used to give me a broom, and I'd go around and push.
So his dad had a business. Now David's running the business. So you got.
I mean, since high school, so at least 10 years I've been doing full time doing it.
All right. So just so y'all can get some perspective, so he's got some good experience. Go ahead with your explanation.
Well, there are people that just want to be difficult, and in those situations, those get handled differently. But I've found that a lot of times the people that are difficult or super cautious, or they want to make sure they're home, things like that, there's a reason that they're like that. It's the same reason that the daycare is closing at 10. I can't drop him off at 10. It's the same reason that I do something some way, because I've been burned sometimes. So when when people deal with contractors that just seem to not have a brain that they can think about, they feel like they have the need to be here. Generally, a lot of times when you get that, it's people have been screwed over in the past and they've had bad experiences or they've had multiple bad experiences.
Yeah.
And once you show them that you're different than the rest or different than what they've had, that you actually care to be
So
there.
have you ever walked away like this guy walked away from a just mid quote?
I've never just walked away in the middle of it. I think that would be kind of rude.
Yeah, but you will sooner or later. I've done it a few times, now not turned around and said, forget you,
Yeah.
and shut the front door, but I have, just stopped them kind of the way this guy did and said, hey, hey, I just don't think we're going to be a fit, man. Time for me to go. And, that's this guy did that. He said, I simply told him I wasn't a good fit for his needs and walked back to his truck. He said, I'm busy enough not to have to deal with difficult people, and I'm thankful for that. And I think it does, that does come into perspective too, as you get a little older, or not older necessarily, but that happens with experience, right? You're getting older with more experience. You run into it, and there's times when you would try, or Wayne and this guy and you probably, you think you're going to fix this guy, and sometimes you can't. Sometimes, to your point, their problem is bad experiences.
Yeah.
So sometimes you can fix that, saying, hey, now Kyle brings up a really good point. He said sometimes their bad experience comes in because of who they've chosen to hire.
Yeah.
Based on whatever reasons they chose to hire that person, and that's true too. And they want to continue to get, whether it's price or how quick you can get to them, those are the top two things I think are issues on people hiring somebody: how fast you can get here and what's the price. I got to have it done this weekend. I've got a party, and that's when their lack of planning doesn't constitute our emergency.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can help them, certainly, by gosh, we're going to help them. But sometimes you just can't.
Yep.
And then you get, well, you're just like the rest of them. No, I didn't. No, I'm not, because I didn't tell you I'd be here and not show up. That you told me you've had multiple people do to you. So I think that is a separator. But so you haven't never had to just turn around and say goodbye yet?
There's plenty of estimates that I give to where in my head, as soon as I see something or hear something, it's shut off in my head. I'm no longer listening. I'm no longer paying attention. I'm simply standing here listening to you talk just to hear it. And, I think honestly, that would probably be a little bit better to be a little more direct like that instead of, just kind of.
Is it just because you don't want to look like you don't care and rude?
Honestly, probably part of it is you just don't want to get a bad review right off the rip of,
That's right.
To me, it would be somebody saying, this guy's an asshole, because it's hard when you don't understand it. I can't sit there and explain to somebody. I don't want to sit there and explain to somebody why they're not a fit or why they aren't, this or that, because then it just
it's
turns
kind of like you trying to explain a 12-month billing to somebody that says, I want to tell you when I want to cut, and I'll pay you when you do it.
I mean, heck, the other day it was, I don't know, Tuesday maybe. I was with my wife, and I had a lady call me. We had some guys out working, and she came out and stopped them before they even got halfway through with this job because she wasn't happy with how it looked. And I tried to understand what the heck she's talking about. And then I tried to explain to her, like, well, we're not done. So that's not the finished results. I don't really know what the heck she was expecting, but I said, ma'am, it doesn't make sense that you weren't happy with the results, but we weren't even halfway through this yet.
Yeah.
And I tried to explain it to her. And then after trying to explain it to her twice, I finally said, look, we're going to not return back to get anything done. You need to find somebody else because you want to tell them how it needs to be done. The purpose of us is we come in and do it how it needs to be done, the right way.
You hire us to do it.
Exactly. And she didn't like that answer, but even when I hung up with her, my wife looked at me. She goes, "Do you have to do that very often?" I was like, "No, I don't like doing it. I feel bad for doing it because there's an old lady sitting over here that needs her leaves picked up, but she's too damn stubborn to
Yeah.
just let us do it
Yeah.
and get the results."
That is true. You know, I've had to do that multiple times, and you'll do it multiple times, and all of our listeners have probably done it. And if they haven't, they just don't have enough experience yet. But, you know, is that just tell people, let us finish the job.
Yeah.
You know, let us finish the job, and this kind of goes back to utilizing. When you go from a one truck operation to two truck operation or whatever, as your company grows and you have somebody else out doing the work,
Yep.
you know, you can't micromanage somebody, man. You know, if you want to be successful, you can micromanage. A lot of people do it, but you're not going to get shit done.
We had this conversation last night. One of my crew leader, he was super frustrated, and then he's been frustrated with this guy that works for me that just, we were sitting there and watching him put salt on the sidewalk, and he goes, "See, he's just throwing it too far down. He just needs to throw it up a little bit higher." And I said, "Liam, I said, you could sit here and tell him, hey man, you need to angle that thing up about another 2 inches, or you can look at it and know, hey, it looks good when it's hitting the ground. It's even coverage. It's not the way you would do it, but the finished product is what it's supposed to look like." I said, he's doing it efficiently. He's doing it in the order to where he knows he's not going to forget it. He's making sure it's done and it's done right.
Yeah.
And he's not taking any longer doing it this way or that way. I said, but you can sit here and micromanage and say, man, he's not doing it exactly the way I would do it, but there's nothing wrong with the way he's doing it. There's no downside to the way he's doing it versus your way.
Yeah.
So you can't micromanage him and get frustrated.
Right.
I said it's a difference if he's doing something that's just completely wrong. It's taken us way too long and it just doesn't look right.
Right.
But none of those, we're not falling in any of those categories.
Those categories weren't being hit.
Right.
So let the guy do the job.
Exactly. And it's,
I'm really proud of you for making that decision.
and it's something that took me a long time to do. Like, well, I told him, I said, man, we'll be on jobs and I'll see you.
How many times did you and I have that conversation?
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
And it's hard, isn't it?
It's very hard.
It's hard to do. I
have to walk away. I told him, I said, dude, a lot of times when you see me on a job and I just look over and I just kind of walk off, it's because, one, I see you doing something really difficult, the really hard way, and I'm waiting for you to ask me how to do it, because I'm not going to sit here and just tell you every time.
Yeah.
I said, or when you get done, you're going to think, man, there's got to be an easier way, and I'll tell you. Or you're going to figure out the easier way while you're through it. Either way, you're going to learn that there's an easier way. I'm just not going to stop you from working and figuring it out yourself. Because if you figure it out yourself, that's better than me stopping you and telling you. Because then you got to stop what you're doing, listen to me.
Yeah.
And it doesn't equate. I was like, people are going to learn. They have to learn.
How was he with that explanation?
A little bit. It's got to kind of register a little bit. But
because sometimes people can't take criticism. Or
he's good with it.
Is it? You know,
he's really good with it.
You know, and some. Critic.
We got the peanut gallery.
Yeah, our producer's in the background.
We need to give him a microphone.
He won't do it.
All these times I've been on here, and he won't get on just once.
I know.
Not even for Christmas or something.
He gives us good knowledge from the background.
We need to just have a microphone over under his desk or something.
Yeah, just have him live all the time. Hey, Mod all the time. But here's oh my God, here's something else I want to share with you guys here on Turf's Up. To this same point, only this guy was a customer. Okay, the key word is was a customer. And I'm not laughing about it, but I mean, why cry about it? You can't, something I learned a long time ago, you can't do anything about it. When somebody makes a decision to cancel or to stop service, most times they're going to stop, so, but anyways, we'll talk about that side of it another day. And this font is a little challenging because it's like 4.
Oh boy.
So I highlighted to get it. So anyways, and anyway, this was a customer of ours
Short on ink or something?
that I don't know why I fonted up so little. Katie printed it for me yesterday. I said, I want that to talk about on my show. And I don't know how many of you guys, everybody's had this problem, I'm sure. It's not specific to WLS in Louisville, Kentucky. But this guy canceled service and he says, when I first contacted your company, I requested a quote specifically for weekly lawn mowing. At no point do I recall, and it's very professionally written, okay, and he's not being smartass. At no point do I recall a clear explanation that leaf removal would be performed automatically or that it would be a reoccurring additional service beyond the mowing. I do see that there's a clause in the contract stating that the removal will be charged at an hourly rate. However, I'm frustrated because, one, my original request for lawn mowing only. Two, leaf removal was never thoroughly discussed or clearly presented as an additional service. Three, I was not notified in advance that leaf removal was being performed on my property on this occasion. Now, yes, let's address all three of those. Yes, his original quote was for lawn mowing. Yes, I know that whether I talk to him, Kyle talks to him, or Katie talks to him, we tell everybody that, hey, yes, we provide weekly service through November, which includes your fall leaf cleanup. If they don't want it, they don't have to take it. Okay, but they are told, and we tell them how we do it. Okay, so he was informed. That's why I think he says he wasn't clearly informed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but he was informed, obviously. So at that point, why didn't he step up and say, hey, I do not want leaf removal. I just want weekly mowing. That's it. Leaf removal was never thoroughly discussed. So we feel like we discussed it. We told him how we do it, when we do it, and it's in our contract, as he stated. Yes, there is a clause in the contract that tells me how you're going to charge. So let's address the third one before we move along on that side. I was not notified in advance that leaf removal was being performed. Well, where did he think his leaves were going every week? I mean, do I have to tell you that you went out and ate when you go out and eat? Oh, by the way, hon, you just ate. I mean, you saw us, you saw your leaves were gone. At that point, there should have been a clue that turned the light on and said, hey, my leaves are getting done. I'm going to call them and tell them that they don't, hey, I'm good with that one, but don't do any more. Now, now I know what this sounds like to all you guys out there in Radio Land, that I'm just trying to pick this guy apart and make it all his fault. I'm not doing that. I just don't know what else we could have done other than tell him and show him. And then he signed off on it.
One thing, I had a lot of, I still have issues with this, but I've tried to limit my issues with this, especially for new customers. What I'll do is, in October, September, something, I generally will send an email out. Same way, like for snow, if we're going to go out and do snow, I'll send them something like, hey, we've got upcoming weather, yada, yada, yada. We're going to be monitoring the property and, just kind of letting them know what's going to happen or what we think is going to happen and kind of what our plan is. What I do with this, especially for new customers, is I send out a email, just a quick email. Hey, leaves are getting ready to start falling. A reminder, if you're on our weekly list, it's, this is how we do our leaves. Boom. And it's pretty much, we just take everything from our service agreement, put it into an email and send it to them to remind them. I feel like a lot of people, regardless of how, you could almost put a sign in their yard telling them you're going to be charged additional for leaves, and you're still going to have people emailing you,
get lost in the process
doing this. And it's just, a lot of times people don't pay attention, or they hear you but they don't hear you. They listen to you but they don't hear you. And it's challenging and it's very frustrating because
so evidently
I have this all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm just as clear in the beginning. I start the conversation telling people about leaves
Yeah.
before we do anything. And I mean, you tell them, and then they get it. And like this guy,
What he says, because of this, I was generally surprised
yeah, but he's
and
he's trying to be
irritated.
nice too. And that's the
Yeah.
thing. You can tell like he's frustrated with you, but he's equally frustrated with himself. And
Yeah.
he's also not trying I feel like you're not trying to put the blame on him. He's not trying to put the blame on you. He's frustrated he didn't
Our
pay
thing is,
attention.
what do we learn out of this? How do we try to make it better? I'm not sure that end of it,
I don't know if you can.
but you do, we always try to learn, and I'm sure you do too. You always try to learn from a negative experience, and you try to learn from a positive experience with your company. But, this guy says, I did not knowingly agree to the services above and beyond my weekly mowing. He said, that said, I understand that the clause does exist in the contract, and in good faith, I will pay the leaf removal bill for my home. However, I won't be using your service,
Mm-hmm.
any additional, excuse me, for 2026. Please consider this my email notification that I am discontinuing service at the end of the current season. Well, number one is we obviously did a good job of explaining to him that he was signing a contract.
Mm-hmm.
We did a good job of explaining the term of the contract and how he goes about canceling. It tells me we probably didn't leave the leaf removal part out.
I feel like in these
So-
situations, to me, what gets me to not, because I sit here and try to figure out how to stop it as well. But really and truly, I do it different. You do it different than most people do it. So, one, they have to get accustomed to it. They have to see the value and they have to understand the value of, hey, we're here every week. We're getting it done. You're not worried about where we're at, when we're going to be here. You're getting somebody that they're getting a better service, but they have to see the value in it. And then once they understand how it works and see, that, hey, this is a pretty good system to be in, and it's
We got 2
consistent over
minutes.
the year. But it's just, if this guy, he's just not used to it.
Yeah.
To me.
And we tried saving him. Katie reached out to him, and we even offered to say, hey, okay, because his leaf bill was only what, Katie, $160 or something?
Oh, okay.
190
Yeah,
with tax. I mean, so it wasn't like he got a expensive leaf bill. I mean, $200 is $200. I get that too, But on the other hand, we tried to reach out to him and said, okay, well, our customer acquisition cost is this. What if we try to
look? You have to,
because we didn't want the negative review. To your point, there's all those.
you got to save some customers for the carousel, and this guy is just going to go back on the carousel. Somebody can pick him up next year, and then
Somebody's going to be happy with him.
He's a carousel customer.
Actually, I think this might have been one that you were taking care of for us.
Oh, wonderful! Who was it?
Trevor.
Where was it?
Put his name out here. Glen Mary, I think.
Oh, then yeah, probably.
So,
well, we know they got done good, right?
Yeah, he had no complaint. We had no complaint on
complaints on the service or the
no complaints on the service, man. I mean,
I think that's the guy that came out and told me I got a face for the TV. He was one of the ones that said your mom was right. Damn.
All right,
Maybe
probably so.
Me.
Maybe he'll call you direct. Yeah. Oh my God. Hey, thanks for hopping on, David. You look forward to some snow tonight, man?
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see what happens. You get your location service last night?
All of them. We're ready to go. I think we'll be good for
tonight. We're making
we'll
progress with this guy.
I know. We're ready.
We're making progress. Hey, thanks for hopping on. Appreciate you guys listening to us. And as always, have a good weekend, a safe weekend. And remember, profit is not a dirty word. We'll see you next Monday.